Okay, I'm going to walk you through some two variable truth table examples. So this is going to be a series of Boolean expressions, and we're going to use the current values for the Boolean variables x and y to determine whether or not the statement is true or false. So you can see here that I've prefabricated a spreadsheet, and we're going to populate this. Okay, so in the notes the other day, we looked at truth tables for and or, and it started with two Boolean variables, x and y. Each one of these variables can be true or false, and when we have two variables, there's a combination of four different states for each of these variables. So x can be true, y can be true, x can be true, y can be false, x can be false, y can be true, and x can be false and y can be false. So this is the normal way how we set up a two variable truth table. This is how you're going to see me list all the possibilities throughout the course. So I'm going to populate these two columns in a second, but I want to show you what our first target expression is. Our first target expression that we're going to evaluate is x ANDed with not y. So I notice that I have these two spaces, and what they're intended for is for me to add columns, not x and not y. And I'm going to go ahead and come back here and capitalize this x and y because that's going to bother me if I don't. Okay, because I see in this expression that I need a not y, and I'm going to show you a real easy way to do these tables. So from the notes yesterday, we learned that not x is the opposite of x. So we can populate this column, false, false, true, true. Then I can come over here and I can populate this column. So the opposite of y, false, and true. So now when I look at this expression, I see I have a column for x and I see I have a column for not y. So what I want to do is AND together this column and I want to AND together this column. So I'm going to highlight, oops, wrong way. I'm going to highlight these two columns so you can see what we're ANDing together. So I want to AND true and false. That's a false, because we learned yesterday the only time this expression is true is when both Boolean parts are true. Well, that's what we have in row 2. True and true is true. Then false and false is false. And false and true is also false. So now we're done evaluating that Boolean expression. So I'm going to go ahead and add another expression for us to evaluate. The next one I want to evaluate is not y ANDed with y. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll do this one more time. Oh, wrong column again. Not y ANDed with y. Okay, so we're going to take this column and AND them together. True and false is false. False and true is false. True and false is false. False and true is false. You might have been able to predict that yourself. Okay, so let's move on. Next, we're going to do this expression, x ANDed with not y ORed with y. Now, we learned in the lesson the other day that when we have an expression like this, there's a precedence order. And what we learned is that this has a higher precedence than this. Well, if you notice, x ANDed with not y is actually what we have in this column here. So what we can do here is, again, highlight what we're going, so we're going to take this column here and we're going to OR it with this column here. So we're just going to go row by row. True. So this expression is the first one. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. True or false is true. False or true is true. True or false is true. False or false is false. So we learned, like I said the other day, that for an OR statement, only one of them has to be true for the statement to be true. Okay, so moving on to the next expression, I want to try this one. X ORed with not Y, ANDed with Y. Okay, so this time we're going to do X. And we already have a column of not Y ANDed with Y, and that one's right here. So we'll go ahead and highlight that column. So X ORed with this column, true or false is true. True or false is true. False or false is false. False or false is false. I think we're doing good. Okay, let me make a few notes here so I can cross off what we've already done. Okay, and then I think we're going to do a couple more. So let's add this column. So what we're going to do now is we're going to OR together this column and the column to the right. So the statement's going to be, this time I'm going to use parentheses so we can see that the parentheses force the order or force the grouping. And then we're going to say not Y ANDed with Y. And I probably could cut and paste. Okay. So here we go. So we're going to OR this column and this column. False or false is false. True or false is true. False or false is false. And false or false is false. Okay. So I have one more to do. This one's going to be a two-step process. Actually, we have this column here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this column. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to copy that, paste that. But this time, I'm going to put a set of parentheses around there. Whoops. And I'm going to OR that with not X. I'm going to make this column bigger. Okay, so that's going to be not X, so it's this column. And it's going to be this column. And for this one, we're going to OR them together. So false or true is true, excuse me. False or true is true. True or false is true. True or false is true. So those end up being all true. And sometimes it just works out that way. Okay, so hopefully I didn't make any mistakes here. I'm not feeling the best, but I think we did okay. So I think you're all set now to be able to do the worksheet that I have for you for homework. So you always should start with these 4 columns. And in fact, let's go ahead and look at that document before I sign off. So iLearn. If these aren't printed out for you, I suggest you just do this on a sheet of paper in your notebook, and then I'll check it in for you. I asked Miss Richardson to print them off. I just don't know if she's going to be able to do that and give that to the sub or not. So we see here we have the 2 variable truth table. So what I would do is I would make a column for X and Y, not X, not Y. And then you're going to do this column. You're going to do 1A, and then you see that 1A is ORed with Y, so you'll make another column. Then you may need to make this column here, and then you can make one big statement of this column here. So you would lay that all out and then fill that in. And you'll do that for all these problems. So we'll go over that in class tomorrow. Hope everything is okay. I'm sorry I'm not around, but I just couldn't come to school today. So we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Bye.